Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and with me tonight I have got Davo and Dicko, and this week it's Monday, so it's winners and losers, unless you're beating Leeds 6-1 last Monday when it was moved to Tuesday, and you know how that worked. So, winners and losers, we talk about the weekend's football. We picked 2 winners, 2 losers. I haven't picked a thing this week. It's all down to Davo and all down to Dicko, so if it's really good, let them know. If you don't like the winners and losers, fucking hammer them. I'll put their Twitter handles in the description. Davo, how are you?
Good, yeah. I watched your video today of the one club going around.
Oh,
really
yes.
Harder than you think. At it today. Oh, he's on that foot. Little chip with a 5 wood off the green isn't any good.
It's weird because you're trying with a 5 wood to stay back, but not stay too far back that you leave yourself in bunkers. But I know it was a good video. Check out Bang Average Golf. There's another one. There's another one coming on Wednesday, where the Pro Tips series starts on Wednesday, where we have the pro telling us how to hit all the shots on the golf course, and he does it on the hardest hole on the course, and it's absolutely unbelievable. I watched. Well, you see this fella hitting the ball. It's ridiculous. But yeah, check it out. Check that video's out now, and there's more coming. We're hoping for 3 a week from here on in. Dicko, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, good. I have to say that winners and losers theme tune's the best thing on the internet, isn't it?
It's probably the second best. The original winners and losers.
We had to ditch that, didn't we?
We had to ditch that because I don't know, some music producer thought it'd be great crack to try Suits, so we had to get rid of that. Like,
I think it's Kante waking up in it is the best part of it.
Yeah, just as they're about to play Liverpool.
Yeah. Now the little image of them, it's fucking steady.
Anyway, look, it is winners and losers. It is brought to you by bookmakers.com. Check them out on their website. For all the odds on all the sports across all the bookmakers, you can get it there. But remember to gamble responsibly if you are doing so. If you're not and you're not into gambling, the website's still good for stats, comparisons, articles, stuff like that. So you can check it out. It's a really good website, whether you gamble or not. Winners and losers. We're going to start with Davo. I think we're going to start with your winners.
Has to be Wrexham, Gav.
Oh, has to be Wrexham. Okay.
Gone down the leagues. A little bit cheesy, I suppose, because I really enjoyed the documentary on it. This is Wrexham, isn't it? I think that's the name of it. Yeah.
I've watched none of them.
Yeah, it's you should. It's I really enjoyed it. Going behind the scenes and kind of pulling the curtain back to show you more so kind of before the boys came in, showing you how bad things were and stuff like that. But yeah, look, that notoriously hard to get out of that conference on National League. They're on 110 points at the minute with a game left.
Something ridiculous, yeah. And
it's absolutely madness. You could have put Notts County as a winner or a loser because they're going to end up on, I think they're on 106 at the minute.
Yeah.
And they're gone into the playoffs. But yeah, look, if kind of look at cynics will come in and say, look at that playing X amount of money in and Paul Mullins on X amount and this, that, and the other. But look at when there's only one place up for grabs in a 24 team league, I think 24 team league, and you can throw money at it till the cows come home. But a lot of teams do that and they don't get it right. So I really enjoyed the series, and it's been one to keep an eye on. Like, they've been getting huge crowds. Kings of Leon are playing 2 gigs at that ground in the summer. They're gone very Hollywood with the 2 lads. But yeah, look, I just I thought it was they're getting a lot of eyeballs on non-league, and yeah, look, to get out of the league, especially with the points total and be pushed out. It wasn't as if it was a procession. It was a procession for the 2 teams with them being on such high points, and only one of them was going to get it. Wrexham got it the other day, so. Yeah, they definitely be winners for the weekend, Gav.
The funny thing is, like, I hope Notts County go up as well, because I watched them play Notts County when they beat them 3-2, and Notts County were brilliant. They literally just tried to play football for the whole 90.
Yeah.
Weren't interested in launching balls. They tried to play football, so I do hope they go up. Look, for me on Wrexham, They've had a very tough time since they dropped out of the Football League, and I think it's a good few years ago now when they dropped out, if I remember rightly. And they've had all sorts of issues. The two boys have come in. They weren't going to come in and not plough money in, And let's be honest, every team down there would like someone to have a few quid to throw at it. I've seen people saying, they're the non-league version of Manchester City. I don't buy that, because until they start producing sponsors that only have a PO box to their name, and they start claiming they're spending 9 million quid on plants around their stadium, I don't think they are Man City yet. Look, when they're going to have to show their investment, is they have to get a return on it. That's the first thing. But as they go into this league now, they're going to be under huge scrutiny from the league, as to what they're spending, where they're getting the money from, and how they're doing it. And I suppose for me that it's probably they're looking to get into the league and then start being, regulars in the Football League rather than non-league, and they're going to throw money. And I think the comparison to Man City is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. I've enjoyed watching them the few games. I'm being honest with you. I've enjoyed them watching the few games, but we'll see where it goes, because I think they're going to get more scrutiny on them financially if they were to say go into League One in the next year or two. A bit like Salford City, who get massive scrutiny on them, but they get scrutiny because one of their owners, flip flops on his opinion with regards to football finances on a daily basis. So that's why they get that. I suppose. But it is a good story. But I think, and the Hollywood stuff and the razzmatazz of it and all the attention is really positive at the moment, but the scrutiny's coming, because that's just how the world works. So fair play to them for going up. I think it's a ridiculous points tally. No matter how much you put in at that level, it's a ridiculous points tally. So fair play to them. But they're probably going to have to watch their backs now over the next couple of years as to what way they're doing the finances. But they have the basis there for me. They have a good stadium. They've a great backing. They're the only team in the only real big team in that part of Wales, from what I can remember. They're in Wrexham in North Wales. Yeah. So they're only big team.
Not too far from Dicko.
Not too far from Dicko. Not too far from Everton. And look, we're in a season or two. Wrexham could be playing Everton in the fucking Mersey River Derby. I don't know what they're going to call it, but no, look, it's a good story, but I think it'll be painted in a different light. I think in the next year, 24 months. Dicko, Wrexham, Everton, big derby.
Yeah, it'll be a massive derby. Yeah, the River Dee derby, I think it was. I don't know. The one comparison I would make with Manchester City is that I think if Wrexham were in an FA Cup semi-final at the weekend, they probably would have sent more fans to Wembley than Man City did, to be honest.
Man City brought their big flags and said they sold out their relegation.
Yeah, same old with them. But no, I mean, I watched the documentary as well, the Welcome to Wrexham documentary with the lads. And I watched it. I watched it obviously from the outset, and it's been amazing really to see where they've come from. Obviously, they have big ambitions, and they went and made a lot of they made a difficult decision with the manager. There was a nice bloke in charge. There was a nicey feel. They were always top half, mid-table kind of team. And then they just, they obviously had to make the hard decisions. They brought in Phil Parkinson. And then obviously all of the signings that came after that. I mean, obviously the big one was a Scouser, wasn't it? Paul Mullen. I mean, he's absolutely, I think he dropped down 2 divisions, did it for family reasons, I think, more than anything else. He was living down south, seeing an opportunity to come back up north with near his family. And he's made a roaring success of it, and he's kind of a bit of a household name himself. If anyone had to name one player from the non-league, it'd probably be Paul Mullen. And apparently he's got a book coming out soon, and he seems to be the favourite of the 2 lads at the helm. So it just goes to show these little things will attract players, and I think they'll attract. I don't think it'll necessarily just have to be the wages that attract that attract a better caliber of player now that they get into the league. I think a lot of players will kind of go there for the ambition and for what they could potentially get off the field as well in terms of the exposure and so on. So I think, the massive winners, the one thing they've got going for them now going into that division is like they've been fighting for one automatic spot for the last few seasons. And when you get into, League Two, I think there's 4 teams that go up.
And then I think it's 3 directly, isn't it? And 1 from the playoffs.
And then 1 from the playoffs. So like you don't have to go into that division and tear the arse out of it, sort of thing. You can go up, automatically in 3rd place. So I'd say they'll be targeting automatic promotion. They'll probably have to do some, the usual kind of trying to up the quality of the squad sort of thing in order to compete and be able to do that. But no, I like it as a feel good story. I suppose they could have picked any club, but there was a little bit of romance with the fact that they had like the oldest ground in the country and all that sort of stuff. So, there was a little bit of history there, and, you don't mind seeing a fan base that's been down on its luck for a long period of time, starting to see some good times again. So I hope it continues for them and that they do get up, and, stranger things have happened. I think it was said there on the commentary, the last time they were in the league, they were in the same division as Brentford, and look where Brentford are now as a club. So stranger things have happened. It's not they could easily, we joke about them playing at Everton, but we know the path that Everton seem to be on. You wouldn't bet against them being in League One in 2 seasons' time, and Wrexham playing at that lovely new stadium.
Yeah, they get a big allocation. I'd say the away allocation. But like, I reckon the away fans will get the allocation where you can see Anfield from the upper tier, because now Everton fans want to sit there. They've been in a big box above it. Born, not manufactured. How does one compare self-made folks with some money to oil-rich kingdoms' available finances? As Tarek reckons they're odd people. Look, they're going to come under financial scrutiny, but the thing is, I'm more interested in when I look at it now and I think to myself, how much are they allowed to invest? Because we know people at football clubs are allowed to invest X amount of money over X amount of years. A lot of those clubs down there aren't in a position to invest that money, but these look like they are. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think it's going to be a case of,
I'll say it'll be sponsors, Gav, won't it? It'll be just that they'll be sponsored to the fucking hilt. They're already TikTok.
But that's what I'm saying. That they will be sponsored to the hilt.
They're playing United in America in the pre-season tour. They're going to America. They're playing United. They're building a new stand. I think it's their own cup. Is it Dicko they call it?
I think it is. Yeah, the cup.
That's been leveled. That's been leveled. Yeah. So. Yeah. And you could see the bulldozers in there and whatnot when you were looking at the game the other day. So
yeah,
I'd say to be honest with you, Gav, I'd say there's a lot of groundwork after going in already, kind of envisaging that we will get up. And now, like I don't know which one you said it. Like they might not have to go gung ho. They could start tailing back wages, selling the project more to some people than say coming in and go, look, here's 10 grand a week in League Two. Like, do you know what I mean? They could rather come in and try and foil back the wages a bit, kind of sell the ambition and the project and everything else that goes with it. But I'd say the groundwork is well and truly in place, Gav.
I don't doubt it, because when you look at some of the sponsors they have already, but what I'm saying is that whoever owns I don't know whatever other team in the league, in League Two, probably don't have haven't got an owner that'll come along and go, I'm going to invest 15 million quid in the next season or 2 seasons, and they're well entitled to. You see, the thing with FFP is that you have to spend X amount of what you earn, right? And you're allowed to earn, but that's where it falls down, because when people cheat on this, they cheat as to what they earn. Do you get what I mean? But the scope, like TikTok come in, if they want to sponsor Liverpool, it's going to cost them 100 million quid. But they can go into Wrexham and go, here, there's 10 million over 2 years, and they go, fucking great. Do you know what I mean? Wrexham are going to be you know, they're going to put them on the telly as much as they can. It's going to be followed. There'll be a second documentary
Exactly.
probably.
Like you said there, there'll be another year documentary in League Two, or first, already following here, and then there'll be a follow on when they get back in the league. There'll be fucking sponsorships out the fucking gate. Every home game sold out. Fucking blah blah blah. It'll be mad.
I think the last series that finished there was the end of last season. So they haven't even released it.
They haven't even done this one. Yeah.
They haven't even released the feel good sort of season. The last season they come second in the league. They missed out in the playoffs. You know, it was you really fell for them at the end of that season of the documentary. So when this actually comes out and it culminates in them getting the promotion and all the stuff that has, I'm sure, gone with this season and the 100-odd points and the Titanic struggle with Notts County, I mean, I'd say that there'll be even more people on the bandwagon, and it's just the momentum.
I'll tell you who'll be rubbing their hands together the most, Gav. That non-league is on BT. The AFL is Sky Sports. I'd say Sky Sports are absolutely fucking rubbing their hands together. They'll be on as fucking many times as they can with them two lads' fucking faces up in the stand.
Yeah.
Fucking as much as is humanly possible to get League Two on the television. Their kick-off times be changing to get them on the telly, and they'll be getting the TV money, all that, and everything that goes with it. Obviously for Sky. So
they've two lads there that are very successful. They have the background they come from means that there's money where they come from. They've their own money as well, and then like all these massive companies are American based and want to be they'll want to be part.
Yeah, man, Rob McElhenney is an absolutely huge sports fan, Philadelphia Eagles and stuff like that. So it's not as if he's one of these kind of self-made millionaire that's from somewhere and doesn't really overly give a shit. He's fucking like us with Liverpool with the Eagles, and I'm not too sure about the 76ers and the Phillies and whatnot, but definitely with the Eagles in Philadelphia, he's up in his box and he's effing and blind and he's doing whatever what we'd be like when we were watching Liverpool. Yeah. So there is he is a sports fan. He's a big sports fan. Well, look, Ryan Reynolds maybe not so much, but definitely one of them. Anyway.
I think Ryan Reynolds has turned into a massive sports fan.
He has. Yeah. He didn't seem to be that invested, but I think he's getting over to as many games, if not more, than McElhenney is.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you wish them luck, because there will come bumps in the road. There will come, scrutiny on it, especially if they hang around Salford for long enough. I'm sure there'll be loads of scrutiny. But don't worry about it. Their owners sit in their house and scream watching the telly when they could be down the road watching them live. Loser of the week. Go on, Dick. I'll let you go first.
Well, it had to be Spurs, really. In this, I mean, I made this pick before it got even more farcical today with sacking the caretaker manager and moving on to caretaker manager number 2, who, by the way, was standing right next to caretaker manager number 1 when all the shit was flying around yesterday, trying to advise him as to what to do next to stem the bleed and sort of thing. It was absolutely insane. I mean, I know you get these sort of, purple patches teams, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but they were just at 6s and 7s, and they just made. I mean, we talk about how Liverpool are easy to play against, but like Spurs were like statues there in the first 20, 25 minutes. I mean, just capitulated. I mean, he I guess, he made a tactical switch, didn't he? He played a 4-4-2. They were saying that before the game that, I think Conte had tried it a long, long time ago, but they'd had so many number of consecutive games where that hadn't been the formation. And it was, if anything blew up in someone's face spectacularly, it was that yesterday. But like that's not really in isolation, is it? I mean, they've just been, how they're above. It just shows how bad we've been, really, that they're still above us. I mean, we're a Liverpool podcast, and we're talking about how sort of, how ridiculously bad Spurs are, but they are still there above us at the end of the day, and they're technically better poised to try and challenge for top 4 than we are. But I mean, we spoke a few weeks ago about, like, which would be the better jobs to try, for the likes of, say, a Brendan Rodgers or whatever, to look and try and sort of position themselves for. And I don't know. I think I actually said Spurs was a better sort of job to go for than Chelsea. But when you see stuff like that yesterday, and you just think, like, is Kane going to just decide that's it now? He's got probably a very small window to go off and go to another club. Like, Son just seems his better days are behind him. They're just, Lloris is, he's not been doing it for a long time. Yeah, I mean, he's just
finished
not,
about 3 years.
Yeah, he offers nothing for them. They're just, albeit they're sitting in 5th place in the league, they just look like a total mess. And maybe Ryan Mason can galvanise the troops. And
he's had enough bleeding goals today.
Yeah, we're speaking. I'm mindful we're speaking sort of 6 days before they come to Anfield, so you never like to tempt fate on these things. But no, they were absolutely, we were embarrassed from start to finish yesterday, and they like, you couldn't even come close to beating Spurs for loser of the week for me.
It's interesting because, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't see the start of the game, right? I was down the shop, came back, walked into the house, and just put the kettle on, put on these, football app scores, and just went, what? 6? It was set. There was 7 minutes and something on the clock, and it was 2-0. I was like, what is going on here? Then it was 3. Then I was like, what is going on? And I just threw it on the telly to see if this mayhem. When I stuck the telly on, it was just going 3-0. They were showing the replays. And you could see this guy on the side of the pitch and Mason beside him and they're going, yeah. And I go, what are you fucking...
9 minutes.
What are you fucking nodding at? Get something done here. But it made me think then afterwards, when you see Spurs since Conte left, and Davo, I suppose I'll ask you, see what you think. Was a lot of Conte's job trying to keep a lot of issues maybe in that dressing room under wraps and smoothing things out? Because it just looks to me like, and from watching the game yesterday and speaking to a couple of Spurs fans, I do a show on Bookmakers TV, and Jamie on there is very honest about Spurs and what goes on. Could it be a case of this is just impossible to find someone to fix? Like, it looks to me like there's just, I don't know if it's Kane, Son, whoever, and there's just so many problems there, and it's just they're just throwing themselves. The problems are throwing themselves out there now.
They're not like every manager that's been in the door there and gone out the door. Like, they're not bad managers. Not all of them. Some of them are crap, but not all of them. There's probably an argument that they don't tilt on Pochettino. Now, whether that's a case of hearing the same voice for too long and it just grown weary on them, or else them actually down and tills on a fella who done an absolutely unbelievable job for them. He's actually probably going to go to Chelsea now. But I mean, Conte's fucking kind of rant has turned out to be right, really, hasn't it? When you go back and fucking listen to him, there's a certain quality of player there, there's a certain type of player, and like, when the going gets tough, like, they don't fancy you. Like, the Kane there, like he's probably. I didn't see the game yesterday, Gav. I was on the golf course, thank God, and I was just saying, Dicko was giving me the updates on our WhatsApp, telling me how insane it was, and I kept checking my phone. Then every time I flicked on live scores, another goal gone in. But like, you had all this, like, this fella at the back of Romero, like, Carragher anointed him as the fucking next best fucking thing since sliced bread there earlier on the season. The fella's a fucking lunatic. All he does is go around booting people, getting yellow cards, getting sent off. Fucking, I don't see it. But I'm conscious, like Dicko said, we played him in 6 days, but thankfully we have a game before that to get that new manager bounce on Thursday night. Yeah, and like, I'd fancy us at home. Although,
who did you play on Thursday?
We play United on Thursday.
Right. Interesting.
Having said that, I reckon Sunday could be like 2 ball men fighting over a count, to be honest with you. With how bad we are as well, but I honestly just think that when you sit back and fucking, like, Conte was right, because I know he went in, he strode into that fucking press conference going, "I'm getting myself the sack here," but like, I don't think he said it, and I don't think he said it in there that was wrong, and it's after being proven. Now, like Dicko said, how the fuck his assistant stayed in the job after Conte went? And now they're after giving it to the fella who was his assistant after sacking this fella is just fucking mental. But
Ryan Mason is literally just hanging around that club going, listen, I'll just do a job when all these boys get sacked. Because he doesn't seem to hold any sway until they're on the third manager, whatever it is this season. Ryan Mason would be the third man in charge, would he? Yeah.
He's their big dunk. That's what he is.
That's exactly what he is. He's Tottenham's Duncan Ferguson. But just watch, and I know they're coming to Anfield, and Liverpool need to win every game between now and the end of the season to have any chance of getting top four. And Spurs play United, a draw there or something probably does Liverpool. You want to be the least amount of points behind, third or fourth, as you go. But just watching that Spurs side, like when they were building this squad, you were kind of Højbjerg is a bit of a leader. Kane is a leader. He leads by example. He is. He does that. Son. This, that, and Kulusevski came in and looked great last season. Bentancur was a big loss for them. It's Bentancur, isn't it? He plays midfield. He's really good. He was a big loss for them. But then when you look at the defenders, you're like, don't trust any of them. Don't trust any of them. The goalkeeper is an absolute walking disaster and has been. I agree with you. I think he's been, you said 3, I think that's been generous in how long he's been a walking disaster. Like, he comes off at half time and they're saying, he had a hip problem. No, but the problem with his arms. His arms and all parts of his body was an issue at the weekend because he was just all over the place. And we've seen this before where Lloris has got pops off different players walking off pitches and stuff like that. And I just feel, looking at that Spurs side, that Conte, for me, the rant and whatever, but I think Conte could see the issues there. Not only in their mentality as to, win things and stuff. I think more of the harmony in there, or the togetherness. Do you know what I mean? Or the willing to not work for each other, but probably work for the people, the managers in place. I think he's seen that, and I think that's starting to show because, like, Conte goes, and if Conte was the issue, the players should really go, right, let's go and make a real go of this top four, and let's try get this and get behind this fella for the rest of the season. But if that's Conte's assistant, obviously they're going to have an issue with him as well. So that doesn't. And then when you look at the players at the weekend, they just not even trying to go, like, just strolling around. Newcastle didn't have to do loads to score 6 goals, did they?
There was a couple of decent goals. I mean, I think there's a goal.
Yeah, but Dicko, they were getting from the edge of their box to the edge of Spurs' box in 3 passes with Spurs with 10 men behind the ball, and we're doing it easily. Yeah,
I mean, there were some quality finishes. I mean, look, they everything fell right for them, but as I said, it was kind of statuesque stuff from Spurs. There was nothing. They were just playing around them. Like it was some sort of training exercise almost. It was absolutely shambolic. I mean, if you're a Spurs fan and you took the effort and the trouble to travel up to that game and you're standing there 5-0 down after 21 minutes or whatever, I mean, you must be absolutely pig sick. I mean, I think some of them left actually. The camera went up there.
Yeah,
you'd be on your way out. And you'd just be, if you were there for the night, you'd be going on the lash straight away. You wouldn't even go to a pub which was showing the game, would you?
But you know what the thing is? Like, it makes me think back to when Spurs beat Liverpool 4-1. It was at Wembley, wasn't it? When Spurs were having their stadium rebuilt.
Yes.
And that was September 2017. And we were all watching that, and you're saying to yourself, Liverpool need a centre half because Lovren was whipped after 25, wasn't he?
He was.
And you're kind of going, we have this and we have that. We need someone commanding there. And you've seen the change from January 2018 right up till today, with other players added in. But that's not the case with Spurs. Like, Spurs go in and sign a really good centre half. That doesn't change them. Because with that Liverpool side, you could see them trying and they could get goals and they could win games and they could do this. But that Spurs side looks to me like they just stopped. It's just like, no, we're done. We're not playing for this fella. Ryan Mason will come in and people will go, fucking Ryan Mason again. Look at this fucking Egypt for another 7 games. Then he'll be gone and who else is coming in? Pochettino's being linked with Chelsea. It just feels to me like there's loads to do there. And then you have the owners thrown in and they trying to sell part of it. It feels a bit all over the place.
And the other thing was, let's not forget, like this was essentially a 6-pointer against a rival for a Champions League spot to go and play Champions League football next season. It wasn't like it was some kind of, dead rubber, or they were kind of in Chelsea's position in the table and they were playing Newcastle. They could have, they could have put themselves firmly back in the conversation, and then with United coming up, like it was. They had it there ahead of them to try and get themselves back in the argument, and even that as a motivation wasn't enough for them to overcome whatever's going on behind the scenes.
It's a mad one, and I'm sure Spurs play United towards you to play us Sunday, and that'll shape the season because you'll only have 5 games left after that, and you will really know where Spurs stand. I hope they get a draw on towards you and we bash them on Sunday. I'll absolutely settle for that. Look, moving away from Spurs, we'll do another winner. Who's done a winner? Davo, who's done a winner? Dicko, what's yours?
I've completely forgot.
David Moyes.
Oh, David Moyes. Yeah, David Moyes. Yeah. I was going to say West Ham, but I thought specifically Moyesy, to be honest with you, because like when you see a lot of the carnage that's gone on down the bottom this season, we were only on a few weeks ago and we were going through the bottom of the table and how compressed and condensed it was. And now actually in the space of just a few weeks, a lot of teams have put a certain amount of daylight between themselves and kind of a bottom 5, I think it is now. And West Ham and David Moyes are one of those that have kind of, they've got enough points on the board to ease the pressure a little bit. They're not out the woods yet. I don't think any of them teams completely can switch off now. I mean, Bournemouth, for example, this weekend, West Ham obviously hammer them. They look like Bournemouth might have enough points, but, a bad run and you can easily get sucked back in. But West Ham, I mean, they're juggling, obviously, the conference football, the demands of the conference football, playing Thursdays, Sundays, but they've navigated the path, it looks like, to relative safety, and now obviously they're in a European semi-final again, and you've got to give Moyesy credit. I mean, I think I got a text about 3 weeks ago. Someone said he'd been sacked or he'd gone. Obviously, that was sort of false information because he did seem to be on the brink. He did seem to be, sort of on the edge, but he seems to have rode through the storm. And when you see, all the different managers that have lost their jobs down there and clubs that have lost patience, I mean, it just shows that he obviously had plenty enough credit in the bank from last season. They did finish 7th, I think it was. So, maybe that went in some way, whereas other managers didn't have the same kind of level of patience that maybe would have helped them to navigate themselves out of the bottom sort of relegation fight. But yeah, Moyesy, I mean, you've got to give it to him. What he's gone through, all the way back to, what he went through at United and stuff. He's done a great job at West Ham. So, yeah, I think this week you've got to give him a pat on the back. They've still got plenty to play for. And who knows, they might get to a European final.
Okay. Dicko, there's people giving out about you in the chat because there's static coming off you and sound belting out your speakers, and I don't know what you've done. It sounds like a loose cable, he said, but I don't know. Plug yourself out and plug yourself back in, Dicko. I don't know what to do. But Wizard says Moyes just needs to win the Conference League and stay out of relegation. There's so much room for error that it's the perfect job in the Premier League. Davo, Moyes is a winner of the week. They go away because I fancy Bournemouth to beat them, I'm being honest with you, but they go and hammer Bournemouth, and in doing so puts them, I think, might be a point ahead of Bournemouth, but they've a game in hand. And like Dicko said, there's teams starting to pull away there. Bournemouth sit on 33. They're 5 clear of Everton, 6 clear of Forest. There's the likes of West Ham, Wolves. It's all happening for Dicko. Like, he's just wrecking the gaff now. Right? For anybody watching now or listening back later and going, "What is going on?" Dicko is upending the place. But Davo, there is teams pulling away, but and he was under serious pressure, but he's turned around. He's got some wins. One more will probably do him in the league, and one more win in the league keeps him up. And then he has that, and we snickered at that conference, but like, if he wins that, does he get a spot in the Europa League next season? I presume he does.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure you do. Well, to be honest with you, Gav, I don't want to be pissing on Moyes' chips or whatever, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. I think the fans want him out. I think if he wins that Conference League, he might stay. But from the stuff I listen to, kind of Totally Football Pod, to have the West Ham fan on there, and from everything he's kind of saying is, I'm not sure Moyes going to be in the job. Keeping him in the league, I don't think is going to be enough. They don't like how he plays. They've
torn on a lot of players as well, though.
What do you mean? They've torn.
Yeah, I've seen some West Ham fans talk about, and although Moyes never plays the nicest brand of football, but he kind of had West Ham hopping last season, and then the European stuff last season as well kind of caught up with them, didn't it? But I've seen a lot of them torn on players where you go, geez, I didn't expect him to do that. Like Fornals, who's been a good player for them. Different players, Souček has been torn on a little bit. So I get the idea of not liking Moyes, but at the same time, some players might let him down as well. I'm not here to tell you to keep.
Well, look, they spent big money on that Scamacca centre forward. It hasn't worked out for him. He's gone back to the tried and tested Antonio. I think he's kind of found somewhere. Listen, I'd be lying. I haven't watched an awful lot of them. I'm just listening to stuff about them, and you read bits and bobs. I think he kind of has Paqueta maybe playing off him a little bit, and that seems to have worked because he was kind of lost for a while, Paqueta. But like, they've absolutely turned it around in the league, and if if staying in the league is what you want, you keep Moyes there. Unfortunately, I think West Ham want to be entertained a little bit more. And look, when we're not there, I always remember it being when Mick McCarthy was managing Ipswich. I'm off on a bit of a tangent here. He had like the 5th smallest budget in the Championship, and he was getting them in and around the playoffs every year, but the fans wanted him out because they said it was absolutely fucking dreadful to watch. And their argument was, listen, we're the ones paying and sitting watching this every week. Lo and behold, they sacked McCarthy and got relegated. But they still said, no, it was the right thing to do to sack him because we couldn't look at it anymore. It's probably not that extreme for Moyes at West Ham, but from everything I kind of hear about him on different podcasts, I'm not sure he's going to be there, Gaff. So I said, now, winning that Conference League might just keep him there, but I wouldn't be overly sure. Who have they got in the semi-final? Did they get Fiorentina?
I haven't a clue. Now, just before I go on, Dicko has muted himself now, right? So if Dicko can press the unmute button, right, we should be getting him back because I've seen him messing with headsets and all, so it could go really well here if he can manage to unmute himself. He has muted himself. He's talking to us now.
You're on mute, Dicko.
Yeah, he's talking to us, but he's on mute. He's definitely on mute because it says it on my screen. The best thing for him to do would be to drop out and come back in. That's the best thing to do, Dicko. There you go. He will be back in a second. But I suppose West Ham fans are looking at this league, Davo, as well, and looking down going, like, Southampton are abysmal.
Yeah.
Right? Everton aren't much better. Forest, Bournemouth aren't great. Leicester got a win, but they're fucking shocking. And West Ham are looking at the money they've spent and the amount of years they're in the league and saying we shouldn't be down there with them. Because they
shouldn't be.
They shouldn't. They should. No. They absolutely shouldn't be. And they're
probably. I'd argue Leicester shouldn't be anywhere near down there.
Well, you could argue that as well. But they're probably looking at Newcastle and saying, look at them up there. Now I know Newcastle are a fucking different entity now, but when you look at the money spent, I'd say between West Ham and Newcastle over the last 5 years, it would be very, very similar. I think. I could be way off, but it feels to me like West Ham spend a lot of money, and I look and going, but they've spent the same as us. And look at them, you know what I mean? So they feel like they need a new direction.
I just think, honestly, right, I might laugh at this, right? I think since moving to that stadium, I think that stadium will always, might change in fucking 10 or 15 years' time, but I think that stadium will always mean that West Ham are 2 or 3 games away from a crisis because the fans hate it. And it's a kip, it's a running track. Unless they do some serious renovations to turn it into a football stadium. I'd say I haven't been in it, but even looking at games on the telly,
you can see how far you are away, even as an away fan.
It fucking annoys me looking at games on the telly in the place. It's a fucking shy place for football.
Well, if you're in the front row of the away section, you're still about 25 meters away from the end line.
Terrible.
You know, it is desperate.
But I just think that, like, it's a big fucking, what would you call it? It's like a big elephant in the room for, like, they're in this. You know, I know financially it made absolute sense for them. They got it for the song. It absolutely made sense for them. But I was talking about from the fan aspect of it, moving from a very intimidating ground up the park, right in on top of you, to go into that. And I just think the fans fucking hate it.
And away teams, I think, enjoy playing it.
Yeah, and they'll always be just a couple of games away from a fucking crisis because the fans hate the place and want to burn it to the ground. To be honest with you, Gav, we've seen them fucking running on pitch for it and season tickets up at the directors' boxes and fucking mad kip.
It is. Dicko did leave, and then I think he's forgotten how to join back in, which is the crack. But we leave it for the moment. But look, he is Dicko. Moyes is Dicko's winner of the week, and absolutely, he's dragged them over. They'll be absolutely fine, in no danger of going down, which is obviously a primary for them, especially with the season they're after kind of having. So yeah, look, whether he can keep his job, though, that's it. I'd be more sceptical of that. Dicko, just you're back.
Full reboot.
Full
reboot. Jeez, you never sounded as good, Dicko.
Wow. You're crystal clear as well. Absolutely amazing. You can nearly see the tags on that wine above your head. But just the last thing on Moyes.
19 crimes.
19 crimes. Joe Walsh special.
Not so posh up there now.
Come here. Just the last thing on West Ham, because Davo's of the opinion that, you know, he is the winner of the week because of the result he gets at Bournemouth, and probably one more win keeps him safe. But Davo feels that won't be enough to keep him in the job. Maybe a win in that conference will keep him there, but West Ham fans want a bit more, want to be a bit more entertained, and don't want to be fucking scraping around with the likes of Leicester, Everton, Forest, etc. Where do you think his future lies?
Yeah, you might. I mean, what Kev's saying there in the comments is probably where it's got to now at West Ham. The squad needs a new voice, maybe just needs a bit of a refresh, some new ideas, some new messaging, maybe one or two new players. You know, it's obviously gone a little bit stale in some ways. Where could Moyes land? I mean, if he ultimately goes from there, I suppose it depends. You know, say if Leicester stay up, you know, maybe he could go to a Leicester. You know, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad fit in my opinion for him to go somewhere like that. I mean,
I could see him being sacked, and then hanging around till one of the teams that come up have a bad start to next season.
Fucking, you know where he ends up? He ends up back at West Ham next February when the new fella comes in and all the messages fall on deaf ears and the lads fucking, it's not working out. The fans are going mad and they're fucking second bottom. And then he comes. And
Ryan Mason's taking a year out to find himself in Australia. He can't do it.
It's fucking. It's happened already. It's a perpetual Groundhog Day for Moyes and West Ham fans. I'm telling you.
But do you
just
think
like Roy? Just like Roy and his success at Palace.
Do you think he survives it though? Do you think he's West Ham manager to start next season?
It'd be hard if they win that European trophy. It'd be hard to bin him off, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I'd say he'd probably get 6 games next season, then he just go fuck off.
Yeah, that'll be the team.
He'd definitely be, if he's there come the start of the season, I'd say he'd be the bookies' favourite to go first.
Yeah, he'd be gone by the middle 15th of September, like, you know. Look, that's Moyes. He does get. He is one of our winners of the week. Moyes back with Everton in the championships as Megan McCallion. He'd be mad to go there. He'd be mad, like genuinely. And we haven't spoken enough, actually, lads. Just quickly, right? I know we've one more to go, and I know Davo's in bed in a half an hour. But Bill Kenwright's statement was fucking sensational, wasn't it?
I haven't read. I did. You'll need to fill me in because I seen
so
much.
So basically, this support group. Not a support group, that sounds wrong, like it's a support group for Everton fans. All together now or something they were called, put out an open letter about Everton, the state they're in, blah 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 blah. Bill Kenwright took it upon himself to reply to it. I'm sure I'll probably find it get it on the screen or get it up in front of me. But he puts forward the most sarcastic fucking passive aggressive response, right, I've ever seen, right? He starts off by thanking them for inquiring about his health. Right? He does that, and then he goes through it and he says stuff like, He says, you know, I got you a millionaire or billionaire even when you thought I wasn't looking for one. You know, you'd have to read it, Dicko. It's absolutely sensational stuff. And he puts it out the day before the Palace game. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't wait. He just goes, oh, no, I'm putting this out on Friday even. And let it roll. But he's like, your day will come, he's saying to the fans. And he basically says, and if we weren't doing the best we could, why do you think Frank Lampard went up the steps at Goodison into the director's box to salute and embrace the people that supported him most during last season? And like, basically saying, the fans, fuck off. It was us 5 or 6 in the boardroom that made Frank get us over the line. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And he's just like, you'd have to read it. It's absolutely insane. Davo, you've seen it. You've read it.
Yeah,
what's he at?
I've only read a bit of it, but it was more the video I fucking tagged you on Twitter with the lads where he gets out of the car and the lads are asking where the Arteta money is and all this. But he's the same. He's the same in that as what you said. That kind of letter is passive aggressive. He's over fucking kind of wagging the finger at the lads. But I don't know. It's almost like he wants them to get down so he can just ride off into the sunset and say fuck yous, isn't it? It's a bit like that. Dicko, you have your finger more on the pulse.
Do you want me to read it to you, Dicko, just for the crack, really quickly?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
He says here. Hold on, I got it here for you. Let me see. He issues a public statement. Okay. Sorry, I keep jumping in. I've read your letter to the club. Firstly, can I thank you for your care and concern regarding my health? You may well know in April 2015 I was advised of chronic illness that will probably be with me for the duration. This is pretty inevitably only the start of a journey where the issues usually increase, and they have. What you may also know is that most people find a spirit that will not give in and hopefully not be beaten. Sometimes it's not easy, and there are many worse off than me. If I may, I will take this opportunity to address a couple of points from the rest of your letter. The chairman does not run the football club, right? So not his fault. None of this is his fault, right? We have a chief executive who does that, and it's true with most clubs. In the eyes of most of the football world, Denise is amongst one of the best of the best. The truth is, she has to deal with every other Premier League club copes with in a usually competitive environment, in addition to the problems that the world has thrown at us over the last 3 years, closer to home in the last year or so. You may think it is not a massive challenge to relentlessly push forward the new stadium currently taking shape on the waterfront, but I promise you it is. Financiers amongst your group will tell you why, right? So he's basically going, go out and find the financier there in your group that wrote the letter and see what the story is, right? You write that the rumours tell you from well-placed and trustworthy sources that investment is imminent. Right now, that could be half right, a quarter right, etc. But that has been the situation for some time now. Again, those of you who know about raising hundreds of millions in investment will tell you it's a relentless journey where hopes to build are built and squashed in a heartbeat. So he's basically going, have you got loads of people in your group that raises loads of money? And if you don't, fuck off, right? Yeah, that's basically what he's saying, right? But it's amazing. But it's a quest that we undertake relentlessly, and we will succeed. We are succeeding. Farhad and myself are on it hourly, along with the board and its advisors. They're not ringing each other every hour. For what you believe to be the best interest club, you're committed to the removal of the board, as you've shown. For me, the horror of seeing Grant Ingles, our chief financial officer, and Graham Sharp being attacked is more than difficult to comprehend. Putting your chairman on a bedsheet in a distasteful way is something that, although it hurts, I have to get used to. But Grant and Sharpie on banners. The short window you refer to will, right? The short window you refer to will, you and Fair, be helped by the removal of your board. Have you ever pondered whether your managers and players would agree with that? Whether Frank would have rubbed his hands in glee last year at the thought, rather than rushing to the director's box to acknowledge where the biggest support had come from? And what about the clubs around us? Are they thinking, the Everton board is gone, it's going to be easier for us now? I'm confident of the answer on both of these questions. Finally, there is one undisputable fact. Your board cares. It's not nice going through what we have gone through, and it hasn't stopped the work rate, the desire to grow and improve the loyalty to this club and to Evertonians. I've said this, I've often said that I would never deny the right to protest at any football fan, especially Evertonians. I know inevitably your day will come. Just as I knew I would find you a billionaire when the loud and long protest claimed I wasn't even looking. In the meantime, I thank you again for worrying about my health problems. In truth, a week off would be great, but I can't see it happening, as it hasn't happened for many years. I wish you what I've wished every Evertonian since I joined the Blue family nearly 7 decades ago. A happy weekend. The season end we all hope for, and a return to better days after. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So
David Brent.
So he's basically gone through this and went, thanks for your letter. You know, I wasn't well. I'm grand though. I'm going to fight this off like I'm going to fight you off. I don't want anyone to protest, but I'm going to fucking stop you. Can you point out some financiers or people experienced within your group that wrote that letter that have experience in raising hundreds of millions of pounds? You claimed I wouldn't get you a billionaire, and I fucking did, right? None of this staying up last season had anything to do with any use pricks. It was me and the board that Frank fucking knew. If none of you were in the stadium and 6 of us were sitting in the Gladys, we still would have stayed up. Basically, right? It's absolutely unfucking fathomable. So I just thought I'd read the whole thing out, especially with Dicko here, because he'll play that back to Mad Dicko, and she'll have a great time. Like, how Mad Dicko hasn't been onto you reading this out to you on an hourly basis. Me and Farhad are on it hourly. They're not on it hourly. They're not. They're simply not. Right? It's fucking Farhad Mashiri has no interest in everything. Like, no, he sees the number coming in from the reception, right, and goes, I'm not answering that. Fuck off.
I would say he's got every 0151 number blocked.
Even if it's like Just Eat ringing him to say his food is on the way, doesn't give a fuck. Just deliver it. I'm not answering the phone. It's so fucking unreal. But look, we got off on a massive tangent there. But fair play, Bill.
He didn't give any credit to the dog either, did he?
We gave loads of credit to the dog last week. Apparently the dog now is walking in the skies. He heads up to New Brighton and all sorts of stuff to try to get a walking piece in. But do you know what the best thing was, right? I read about the dog. Right, sorry, we're on another one. The dog, right? Apparently the dog has fuck all to do with Everton, was just on a normal Saturday walk and got dragged into the whole thing last season. So it wasn't like they produced a dog. It was just a dog happened to be walking near Everton's ground one Saturday, and all of a sudden they went, that is the dog. That is the fucking dog that's going to save us. So absolutely madness. But
it was probably called Rapper as well. They didn't even realise.
Oh, stop. It's so fucking good. And then like, you know, to tell people that flares and stuff like that and smoke bombs is cowboy behaviour, and then produce an Alsatian in the middle of it while you're doing that was incredible.
They have to go down, Gav. It has to happen this season.
Well, if they don't, I won't get too much into it because I know Davo has to get out of here. But if they don't go down, they're fucked, because they're going to end up with a points deduction or they're going to end up with a transfer ban, and either of them means that squad's not staying in the Premier League. And if they go down that stadium, they won't be in it. I don't care anyone said. They will not afford to be in that. It's an absolute noose around their neck. Anyway, loser of the week. Whose loser are we on to?
On to mine. It's all kind of tied in a bit. We went for Leeds. I just think that fucking... they've had a bad week. Like, they've fucking, like... It's been really bad. Like, they've had a bad couple of weeks with the... what was that up to? It was a 6 and a 5, wasn't it? And then 2 of the weekend. So, just think... I think Leicester will be fine out. Like, I think Forest and Southampton will go, and I think it's one from the 3 of Leicester, Everton, and Leeds. And I would fancy Leicester the strongest out of them 3 because they've goals in them. There is goals in Leicester. You know, if they can, that keeper's dog shit, not great at the back. But they've goals. Dean Smith's back starting Vardy, although he went off at half time with an injury. Ian Nacho starting to score goals for them. and they've some tidy players. Leicester, Everton, and Leeds. I'm not so sure, but it's been an awful week for Leeds. I just thought it was going to be one of them funny things happens in football that after leaking a load of goals in the last 2 games, they actually might have went out and got a clean sheet. But that keeper, my fucking God! I know Joe Wayman, Cav, friend of the pod and all that, is very high up in this keeper, but I think he might be a bit lower down than I don't see it.
He's gone to pieces.
A lot of talk of bigger clubs looking at him and all that. Now, listen, to give him his dues, he is only young. And for a goalkeeper, they obviously mature a little bit later. But and he pulled off a couple of good saves in the game, but he fucked 2 of them in. And you can't do it down there. He looks devoid of all confidence. They all do. Fucking don't look like. I think your man Harrison's a good player. Bamford knows where the net is. So does Rodrigo. But apart from that, your man Firpo is one of the worst players I've ever seen. One of the worst fucking players I've ever seen. And I just think they're actually not too bad. Form-wise, I had a quick look. There's actually 5 teams worse than in the form table for the last 6 games. But I just think that's 3 defeats in a row at a bad time to be getting them.
Yeah.
I think they're fucking dropping like a stone gaff, and I think Everton might just find a way to get out, just to get out for bottom, and I think Leeds might be in trouble.
The thing for me with them is you have to give yourself a chance to gain points. There's teams down there that don't score goals but don't concede a lot. Everton are one of them, right? When you actually look at it, Everton concede on average when they get beaten probably 2 goals, right? But they're not scoring enough. Leicester, losing. I think Leicester, and this is just from my own memory, Leicester losing games by odd goals everywhere, making mistakes, losing. But Leeds are getting back 5-1 at home, 6-1 at home. All right, they get beaten 2-1, wasn't it, away at Fulham. But they're not giving themselves a chance. They're 2-0 down before they start getting back into it. They're not giving themselves the chance to not only win games, but just take anything from games. And that's the worrying thing for me. Like, Leicester have brought in this Dean Smith. They're beating out Man City, but who isn't, at this stage. But they get that win against Wolves. I think they go 1-0 down against Wolves.
Yeah, they go behind as well. Yeah,
and they win the game. And that's going to be massive for them. That's a real case of, if we go 1-0 down next week, don't worry about it. We can keep going here. And they might get that little bounce. Forest are mad because they've that many players. You don't know who's going to turn up every week. And something could click. Literally, something could click for Forest twice this season, for the remainder of this season, and keep them up. Do you know what I mean? 2 wins, genuinely, 2 wins could keep you up here, because no one's picking up points. But for Leeds, and I said it to Joe, and I'll say it again, the reaction in games to either going ahead or going behind is appalling. They go behind, heads go, bang, they're 2-0 down. They go ahead, they're pegged back. They get a goal back against Liverpool. What did he do? 3rd and 4th goal, bang. The reaction is awful. And what happens is then it's just a snowball effect. And the problem is, it's not like you would have seen with Bournemouth a couple of years ago, where Bournemouth have a good run, then they might go about 8 without a win. But then they come back and they win 4 of the next 6. And they just keep getting enough wins in certain parts of the season where they'll keep them up. Leeds, to me, look like they go into every game. If they go a goal up, they're not confident of holding on to it. If they go a goal down, their heads go, and before you know it, they're 2 and 3 down. I said Forest, I said Southampton, and I said Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth have pulled away. If you're discounting Bournemouth because I think one more win does it for them, you would have to make Leeds favourites to go down now. As much as Everton have been appalling, Everton look to me like they're in a game against Palace. Do you know what I mean? They were in a game against Fulham and gave away a goal and subsequently gave away a 3rd one. But they look like they're in games more for me. And Leeds right now, I don't know who. I don't think they have the best run in. They've really kind of crucial games coming up here.
2
after the Fulham game. I think they play about 3 teams around them.
They're playing Leicester tomorrow, which is massive, and then they're playing Bournemouth at the weekend.
Yeah, so they have got games,
and you'll know where they stand pretty much after those 2 games, because.
But if Leicester win that, if they play Leicester, is that right?
Yeah,
tomorrow.
If Leicester win that, it's between Everton and Leeds who goes down. Because Leicester will go to 31 and be confident enough over their last 6 to get 2 more wins.
And then they play Everton and Leicester at the weekend. So Leicester can get themselves out of this.
Leicester could clear themselves out here. In
the next 2 games.
Yeah, and Everton are home to... No, Leicester are away to Leeds, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And then they're home to Everton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Everton are home to Newcastle and then away to Leicester. So
Yeah.
it could be massive. But I just feel, I don't know what you feel, Dicko. They just feel like me, like they haven't got anything going for them at the minute.
No, not even the manager. Like the manager looks a bit like rabbit in the headlights type of thing when the camera goes onto him, and they're sort of like suffering these kind of heavy defeats. Like literally the next 2 games, I think will tell us. We'll know pretty much by this time next week where they stand. Like after that, they've in the last few games they've got to play City, Newcastle, and Spurs. So there's I don't think there's really any gimmies in those last few games. They've got to target 6 points in the next 2 games. If they don't come out of the next 2 games with at least 4 points, they're in serious trouble. Really.
Brian O'Halloran says Everton, Newcastle at home, Leicester away, Brighton away, City at home. That's a fucking awful run of 4 games. And then they finish with Wolves away and Bournemouth at home. But it could be too late at that stage. Emmett says Leicester have Leeds, Everton, Fulham, Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham, which is a bit kinder.
Yeah.
Only because Newcastle could have a job done. Liverpool mightn't have a job to do. Fulham are in that kind of no man's land. And West Ham could be fucking clear of relegation. So that's a bit...
looking at European football, I mean, the other thing Leicester have got going for them is obviously the manager. I think Dean Smith's come in. He's steered Villa to safety from a difficult position in the past. He's done things that Javier Garcia hasn't done. So
Leeds have City, Newcastle, and Spurs in 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah, and that's
your only hope is that Newcastle have already secured top 4 and have stopped, and Spurs just have no chance and have stopped. Do you know the sort of way? But
it is looking like it's boiling down to Leeds and Everton. I just hope upon hope that it somehow by hook or by crook it comes down to goal difference sort of points or whatever, and Everton go down.
You really want something on the last day here, don't you?
Yeah,
I think it will. I think it will go to the last day. I think that's probably.
I'll be great.
I'll be shocked if it doesn't. I'll be shocked.
Well, the thing is, if you look at that, usually out of those 3, you'll find someone that'll find, 2 wins and a draw in the next 5, and then they're fine. Do you know what I mean? They picked up 7, while the other teams are picking up 1 and 2 points.
That's the problem for Leeds, Gav.
I think Forest are an issue though. I think Forest might still be an issue because I don't know what Forest fixtures are, but Forest are just a bit mad.
They are mad. Yeah, they can't.
I know they're shy, but I'd be interested to see Forest's home games that they have left. Away games are appalling. And Liverpool,
they're playing Brighton.
Forest have Brighton at home, Brentford away, Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Palace away. So the home games are Brighton, Southampton, Arsenal.
There's a lot of mid-table stuff going on in there with teams that mightn't have anything to play for come towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I think you're right. I think it might go down to the last day. And if I'm picking one, I think it's Leeds. If you're writing off Forest and you're writing off Southampton, I think it's. I just look at that and I think to myself, who has not even better squad, just who has something going for them, anything going for them at the moment, and Leeds don't. They just don't.
Dicko was right that with the 3 managers there, Leeds is the worst. Out of the 3 teams that it's between. Deutsch is better than them, and so is Dean Smith.
Yeah.
So, I actually think it's going to be Leeds.
The biggest disappointment, I was actually more disappointed than anything when Arsenal made that comeback the other night, was Southampton, where Southampton would have been
back into it.
Well, they would have ended up on 26 points, which puts them 2 off safety.
Yeah, and the confidence that would have given them, on top of that. I mean, obviously the opposite's true now, but they're playing Bournemouth tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night, on Thursday night, same night as Everton. They're playing Newcastle. So, Bournemouth, Southampton beating Bournemouth, they're probably favourites to win that game, Southampton. So don't rule them 100%.
But that's it. If they were to win and go to 20, if they were to win and go to 27 points.
And Southampton have got to play Forest, so someone's going to get points from that game as well.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be. It could go down to the last day, but I think it'll only go down to the last day The chance there could go down to the last 8 with 4 teams.
And we're playing Southampton on the last game of the season, so don't rule us out.
Liverpool there?
Yeah, away.
Are we? Oh yeah, we're away. Oh. Now you have me. Now the horniness meter has just gone up. Imagine us down on the south coast having a lovely time.
Having a lovely time. Can you imagine the away? Can you imagine the away end if Southampton win and sent Everton down on that last day of the season?
Stop it! It'd be unreal. But I think it's crucial for Leeds to stay up. Forest as well, but I just don't see a way out for Everton. And we'll do shows during the summer. We always do shows during the summer on different clubs and transfers and stuff like that. But I can't, unless Everton get away with this financial stuff, which I don't think they will, because they were literally being shadowed by the league with regards to their finances, and then the league pulled the plug. So something's gone on there. I just can't see if they get any sort of punishment off the back of this, how they stay up. Because that squad doesn't stay up when you can't sign someone. And if you get a points deduction, people in that squad that are probably our better players are going, I'm out of here. And your squad aren't staying up. They're pissing money away on this stadium and that they can't afford. They're losing money hand over fist every year. That's why they're in this situation. I just think, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other at this stage for Everton. I've really enjoyed that.
I prefer them to go down on a proper season.
Oh, yeah.
If they went
because
down,
if they got a points deduction and went down, it'd be like that was the Reds that done that, and the Coppoites done that. But look, it's Jesus. I keep saying it. We do previews on the Premier League every week, and we do it on a Friday. But like Jesus, Friday's one's going to be a belter because you're going to have a load of games in between now and then. But go on, give us your bottom 3. I'll put you on the spot before we go. Dicko, bottom 3. Who goes down?
I'm going to throw a wild card in there, and I'm going to say Southampton, Leeds, and Everton.
Oh, yes, Forest getting out. Davo.
Yeah.
Southampton, Forest, and Leeds.
I'm going to go Forest. I'm going to go Forest, Leeds, Everton. I think Southampton pulls 2 wins out of somewhere. Yeah. And again, should he might as well lock in the 3 points for the last day of the season anyway. Especially if Liverpool have nothing to play against. The
one thing that I was reading there earlier, the one thing that Brighton losing yesterday clarified was 5th and 6th for the Europa League now is confirmed, and 7th for the conference. So if we can lock ourselves into at least 6th come the last game of the season, it's flip-flops time. 3 points in Southampton.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that has been Winners and Losers. Thanks a million to everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed the winners, the losers, and the big statement from Big Bill that we read out as well.
It was worth the extra 10 minutes.
It was worth the extra 10 minutes. Davo okayed it via private WhatsApp. But yeah, look, as I said, rest of the week, we don't have any show tomorrow night because we're changing over some software systems. So we're not going to chance it because it could go badly wrong. So we'll be back on Wednesday for Full-Time Reds after we travel to West Ham. We should be here on Thursday with Viewer's Voice. Friday for the Premier League forecast. Off on Saturday. Back on Sunday with Full-Time Reds and the Fatback 4 after we play Spurs. The charity breast cancer research, it's in the description if you want to donate. If you want to share it, take that link and share it wherever you can. If you want to help us for our golf day by sponsoring a tee box, a long drive, a close to the pin, prizes, if you want to send us some spot prizes or you want to send us money and we'll buy the spot prizes, please do that. I said it on last night, Sean, I continue to say it's been so tough this year to get sponsors and stuff like that because times are hard. But if you're an individual or a company that might be able to help us out with a couple of £100 or whatever it might be, the generosity will be very, very much appreciated because every penny on the day raised will go towards breast cancer research. So, as I said, the link there. If you have to contact us in any way to try help, lfcdaytrippers@gmail.com. MC was in the chat earlier asking how he joins the Telegram group. If you drop us an email at LFC Daytrippers, LFCDaytrippers@gmail.com. We will send you the links to join our Telegram group as well. Thanks to Davo, thanks to Dicko, thanks to everyone in the chat. Where is the fucking Arteta money, Bill? Where is the Arteta money over now?